How you doing today? I'm FrankieG, the Cooking Cowboy, and today is Sunday, February 13th, or as we all know it to be, Super Bowl Sunday. But remember, tomorrow is a very important day too. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. So today, I'm going to be making something for Mrs. G. I'm going to be making a chocolate cake with vanilla icing. So she's in church right now, and I'm going to be surprising her by making her this cake homemade from scratch. All right, let's get started. The first thing we want to do is we want to mix all our dry ingredients. So what I have here is 2 cups of sugar. I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I have 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. It's all together in here. I'm going to put that all in there. And I also have 3/4 of a cup of cocoa powder. So we want to bring that up. And I'm using my handy dandy Fire Engine Red KitchenAid mixer. So let's get that started. Now you don't want to go any higher than, say, level 2, because it's going to be all over the place. So I'm going to let that down and mix it around, make sure it's all mixed in well. That looks like it's mixed well together. So I'm going to raise back up, and now we're going to go in for the wet ingredients. Let's bring this up, and we're going to add 1/2 cup of oil. I'm using avocado oil because that's what we have. It says canola oil, but you know, we make do with what we have. So there was 1/2 cup of oil, and we're going to add 1 cup of milk. Put that right in there. And we want to add 2 eggs. 1 hand, look at that. There's the second one. And we're going to use 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Now this is special because this vanilla extract, my wife made it herself. So everything in this cake is homemade, including the vanilla. There's 1 teaspoon. Oh my God, it smells so good. And 2 teaspoons. Put this cap back on. Take this, let's put this in here as well. Put this over here in the garbage. Don't need it anymore. And let's start mixing it real slow. Again, I'm starting off with 1. I just wanted to get them incorporated, and then we'll move it up a little bit. So now that we've got it mixing a little bit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut it down just a little. I'm going to scrape it down. Make sure everything's incorporated well. Okay. Let's put this in here for a second. Let's bring this back up. And now I'm going to put it on medium speed for about 2 minutes. We're going to let that go, and then we'll be back in 2 minutes. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Okay, so it's been 2 minutes. So here's the last step. So I want to get a cup of boiling water and slowly add it in on a low speed, and then we will just get it in the pans. So let's put this on low. Just slowly pour in the water. Now, it's going to be a very thin batter, but that's okay. That's what we want. Let that incorporate a little bit. And add a little more. There's the rest of it. I'll put this off on the stove. Now I'm just putting it up to level 2 speed. I'm going to let that mix just a little bit. So let's stop it. Let's lower it. And then just give it a scrape to make sure that everything's off the bottom. So it feels like there's a little bit on the bottom that didn't get incorporated real well. And we want it all to be incorporated real well and even. Come around the sides as well. Make sure that there's nothing that's, not mixed evenly in it. And we'll give it one more spin on 2 for about a minute. Okay. All right, that looks good. Now, you have to understand the batter is going to be loose. So the next step is to get it in the pans. So what I did was I took 2 pans and I put some parchment paper in the bottom. Now just a little tip for you, the parchment paper has a tendency to roll up. So what I did was I took a little bit of butter and put it into the bottom, and then I put it down in there. And then I also buttered the sides and I lightly coated it with cocoa powder, as you can see. So the reason I did that is because it said either use flour or cocoa powder, and since we're having a chocolate cake, I figured, let's use cocoa powder, give it that extra flavor. So the next step is we want to get this into the pans. See, we have 2 of them here. And we pour some in this pan just till it gets to the bottom. Some in this pan just till it covers the bottom. And then we go a little bit more on this one. And we go a little bit more on this one. And then we go a little bit more, and we kind of just try to eyeball it to get it even. It doesn't have to be perfect. A little bit more on this one. Put this on the side. That looks about even. And again, we're going to be baking these in the Ninja Foodi 10-in-1 air fryer oven using 2 levels, levels 1 and 3. And we're going to be baking it for about 30-35 minutes at 350 degrees. So let's get these in the oven. This can go on level 3. You don't need this guy in there. And this can go on level 1, just like that. Put the power on. It's on air fry. We want to switch it to bake. We want to go 2 levels. It tells you levels 1 and 3. We're going to go with 350 degrees. And we're going to go with a time of 30 minutes. I'm going to start out that way. Let's leave it at 35. And that's it. So now we hit start. And again, there is a 90-second warm-up period. I don't really care. I'm just going to let it do its thing. So once the cakes are done, what I'm going to do is I'll be taking them out, letting them cool. And at that point, we're going to be heading to the next step, the homemade vanilla buttercream icing. I'll see you in a little bit. So it's been 35 minutes at 350 degrees. The oven just shut off. So let's go check them and see if they're done. Now the way I do this is the old-fashioned way, just putting a toothpick in the center. Let's go do it. My handy dandy toothpick here. Let's side this baby out. I gotta tell you, they smell amazing. But let's put this in the center. Take it out. Looks clean. Clean as a whistle. Let's check the top one. All the way down. and it came out clean. That's a thing of beauty. So what we want to do is we want to put these on a wire rack. Look how beautiful they look. Oh my God. Put this on a wire rack. Again, look how beautiful. Man, I love this oven. Put it on a wire rack. So now we're going to let them cool for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to take them out of the pan and continue with the cooling process. Then we're going to get started on the other starter show, the homemade vanilla buttercream frosting. So I'll see you in about 15 minutes. So it's been 15 minutes. Now we want to get these cakes out of the pan and let them cool down the rest of the way. And then we'll get to the icing part of it. So I'm taking a butter knife and I'm just going to scrape around the outer edge. Then I want to carefully turn it over using my hand and lift it out. At this point, we want to carefully peel the parchment paper from the bottom. And then we could just let the cake cool down the rest of the way. Now we're going to do the same for this one. We take it, scrape it around the outer edge. Be very careful to get it loose. Turn it over. There it goes. Let's get the parchment paper off it. Very easy. And now we're going to let this cool down the rest of the way. So as soon as it cools down the rest of the way, then we'll make the frosting. I'll see you in a little bit. So the cakes have finally fully cooled off. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be placing them on this here tray. And I'm going to start the icing. So the icing is very simple. We're going to be taking 8 cups or 32 ounces of powdered sugar, putting that in the mixer. Okay. And then we're going to be adding to that 7 tablespoons of whole milk. And we're also going to be adding 2 teaspoons of the homemade vanilla extract. There's 1. There's 2. And we're going to be adding 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. There's 1/16, 1/8. And 1/8 of a tablespoon, or I'm sorry, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Let's bring that up. Let's just slowly mix that. Now that we've got that mixed a little, we want to add 1 cup of salted butter at room temperature. Now each stick is a 1/2 cup, so we're going to need 2 sticks. Here's 1. And 2. Throw this away. Again, let's bring that up to speed slowly. You want to really start it slow, because if you don't, it's going to be a cloud in this kitchen. So let that mix a little bit, and then we're going to pick up the speed. Okay, so now that that's kind of a little bit mixed, we want to scrape it down. Scrape it off the sides. Get it down like that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to mix it on high for 3 minutes. All right, that was 3 minutes. So now we want to give it one good scrape. Scrape it down. Texture's looking good. We're almost there. I'm losing it. It tastes really good. My wife usually likes this from the can, but no respectable baker makes things out of a can. All right. So now we got that scraped down. We're gonna bring that back up and we're gonna mix it one more time for 2 minutes, and then we're gonna use the icing. All right, so that was the last 2 minutes. So now the icing's done. So we're gonna lower this, remove this from here. Let's get this off of here. Get the paddle cleaned off. Okay, let's get this scraped down. And let's start icing the cake. I wish I had one of them tools that you could just sit the cake on. It's especially made for icing cakes. But I don't have that, so we're just going to improvise. Adapt and overcome. Let's get her done. I told Mrs. G if she don't like it, lie to me. Let's see what happens. There we go. So now we want to take the other cake, the other sponge. We're going to call it a sponge. Place that on top. Got some healthy portions on top. Start to spread that out. Nothing fancy here, just let's get some coverage. Now we want to start covering the sides. Get some more here. Continue around. Just have just about enough we're going to have for this cake. It's going to be beautiful. I made the frosting, so we're going to use it all. I'm not going to cut back on anything. And there we have it, a chocolate cake with vanilla icing. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop rolling right now. We're going to have Mrs. Greco have a piece because it's her cake, it's her day, it's Valentine's Day, it's for my sweetheart. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to have a taste and I'll let you know how it came out. I'll see you in a few minutes. So I had Mrs. G try the cake, as you can tell. And believe it or not, she was very impressed. She usually likes the store-bought icing, so she wasn't going to be too happy with the homemade icing, but after trying it she was actually thoroughly impressed. So here it is. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? But let's give it a taste. The cake, oh, as us professionals say, the sponge. It's moist, chocolatey. It's excellent. And the icing, is beautiful. My wife likes it from a can, and she said it tastes just as good. But I think it's better because it's made with love. All right. So there we have it. Chocolate cake with vanilla icing in a Ninja Foodi 10-in-1 air fryer oven. And don't forget, if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. Until next time, it's FrankieG, the Cooking Cowboy, signing off. Sayonara. Oh, this is so good. If you don't try this, you're crazy. I'll see you around.